Hey everyone, this is Max, and I work as a technical animator at High Voltage Software. And in this personal tutorial, we're going over Mixamo, a tool for animation, and different ways you can go about using it, and what the tool offers. So it's going to be able to help you, as it says here, bring 3D animated characters into games, film, and more. So we kind of just start through some of the aspects that they have. The reason why this tool is really nice is that it allows you to kind of get started on working on a larger project without necessarily having all the technical skills below. And we'll kind of go through what they're offering here, but you don't have to have a ton of knowledge in modeling and texture, making UVs, rigging characters, animating characters, bringing them into game engine. So it's going to help with a lot of this to kind of help you make games and work with stuff. It's a really great starting point, and it does cover a lot of aspects of what you might need to get started, but it doesn't replace traditional rigging or certain like pipeline workflows, and there's great aspects of taking this and kind of personalizing a little bit, because again, anyone can use this. So if you want your stuff to stand out, it's great to use this as a base, but kind of adding a little bit more to it as you go. But it's going to have ready-to-use characters, so if you don't know how to again, 3D model or texture characters, it's a whole job in and of itself. This will have some options that have different stylized characters for you to kind of work with, which can be really great for getting started. And they also do have a character generator named Fuse. I'll have that kind of pop up on the screen now. Another tool you can use to kind of generate more customizable characters, but again, there's still limits to it. It won't ever like fully replace having a good 3D modeler, depending on the scale, budget, and what you're working with for a project. It has automatic character rigging. So this is a pretty cool tool. Other companies use similar aspects of this idea of having a kind of universal rig that can apply to a lot of different characters, so that way a lot of the animations can be reused, and that way you only have to animate certain stuff versus reanimating a character over and over and over for very basic stuff that you should be able to reuse, like walking cycles, running, jumping, different things. So this can be really great. As a rigger, this tool does have some downsides depending on what you're looking for and what you're trying to get out of it. And I'll go over that in a different video. But again, a really great starting point, and does a pretty solid job. I think the strongest point, in my opinion, of Mixamo versus other auto rigging programs, so a lot of people use it for the auto rigger, as well as the motion capture animations, because there are other auto rigging tools, other things you could use that have some like mocap animation that you could apply to different rigs. But I think the one thing that I really like about this is the library size of animations they have to work with. I think that's a pretty solid amount for getting started, for a pretty wide diversity of animations. So I think this is probably one of the selling points for why this type of program might be better than certain other auto rigging programs that might be a little bit stronger. And then you can kind of export to really any project: Unity, Unreal, Adobe, I believe, is with their AR work, and Blender, or Maya, or any 3D software as well. So it's done really great. It was acquired by Adobe, so it did make some changes from when I started using it before it was acquired to now. I haven't seen a lot of updates since then, just a few things here and there. So it'll be exciting to see if they're going to push this more, because it seemed like they had a lot of really cool ideas that unfortunately kind of got stripped down. So we'll see in the future if this keeps pushing further. So what we'll do now is just kind of take a glance through the characters and animations. Again, this is going to be a little bit more intro friendly, so if you've already used Mixamo and stuff, you probably can tune out after this point, or if you have a decent understanding of how to use 3D, you can probably scroll through some of this on your own. But if you want a more detailed look on some stuff, we'll kind of talk through this together. So you see they have a pretty wide variety of characters of different types and different styles, so there's quite a bit to choose from style-wise, but unfortunately quantity-wise, there isn't a ton, only a few pages of characters. But right now we're just going to work with the Xbox character, because it's real simple. That way, if you want to do anything with a more specialized character, you can work on that on your own after implementing the techniques used in this tutorial, or following along with one of these characters as you go through the tutorial. Alright, so that kind of gives you a basic idea. We're not going to go through every page, I definitely recommend exploring and kind of looking through them all. For now, again, we're going with this Xbot character and move on to the animations. So animations are really cool, like tons of pages. We'll kind of scroll through the first page. Now, if you aren't seeing the exact same thing I have, that is okay. I do think these kind of auto load to a certain extent, like not everything's going to be perfectly the same every time you load this up. You can see they're not like alphabetical order or anything. And they have a lot of different types of animations you can kind of choose from here. So what we'll do is we'll try to just look for like a really simple I think walking animation. I might end up using that walking straight. Let's see if there's any just more forward walking animations. No, we'll use that walking straight animation. Alright, so when you click that animation, you can see it'll load onto your character. Okay, zoom out. So again, this could be a really useful tool even for people that aren't 3D artists. Someone that's a visual development artist or illustrator or something like that. It can be useful for getting different poses of characters and stuff to kind of realize, since you'll be able to see the shadows, you could arrange the camera whatever position you want. So even bringing this into Engine, I think there are some really strong uses for this that can be really nice. Alright, so just to go over a couple aspects of how you can animate and kind of edit these animations, is you can definitely bring these into a program like Maya or Blender, other programs to work with. Maya does have an auto control rig that we'll go over in future videos of this tutorial series, but you could also do some of that animation fixing in here. So one thing is like Overdrive. This is going to control how fast the animation goes. So you see the character's moving a lot faster, or if we move it down this way, we'll see the character's going to go a lot slower. So again, this is a very basic kind of tool that you could use when changing it, and Overdrive is going to be on all the animation sets. Character arm space is also going to be on it, so sometimes depending on the character body type and the animation, the arms might be clipping by default or very close. So again, you could change these in the game or in the in an animation program if you want to make updates to stuff, but you could also make some edits by kind of moving these a little bit, so that'll kind of pull the arms a little bit further away. So I'd say generally you don't want to go below 50 because you'll generally start getting clipping. And I'd say you also want to be careful not to go too high either, because you don't want the character's arms generally to look really weird, and out too much it will look unnatural, depending on what you're going for. So just reset that one. And then the trim. So I'd say you probably don't want to mess with this unless you're trying to break animations down into like almost like pose to pose work. I have done that for a very specific project, but generally you're going to want to just kind of probably keep the frame where it is, especially certain animations are already cycled in, so they'll continuously cycle well. But if you do mess with that trim, it might mess up the cycling of that animation, and it's going to look like it's skipping a part when it's restarting or ending. So I'd say generally don't want to mess with this, but you can. And then the other thing they have is mirror. This isn't always available, but sometimes is. This will just kind of change, in this case, the direction the character is moving. See, they were going to our right, now they're going to our left. Sometimes for an in-place animation, the mirror will just be like the foot the character's starting with. With this, since it has actual directional movement, it is going to change to the full direction. And the other thing you can do is sometimes they will have this as well. We can do in place versus moving in space. So you can see now the character is walking in place as if they're on a treadmill. Then you can see if we mirror it, again, doing the same thing, leading with the different foot in a different direction, but it's still walking in place. So sometimes, depending on the animation, they might have other things like energy level or different settings that you could adjust that are very specific to an animation. So definitely mess with those when you're looking at animations to see what you're looking for. Again, if you don't have a lot of animation skill or you want to just save some time depending on what you're trying to do, these tools can be really helpful for getting started and kind of just making some quick tweaks to a character or fixing a potential clipping issue or things like that. It can be a really fast way to go about it. So that pretty much covers everything in this tutorial about just going over the basics of Mixamo, what it's used for, and what we'll be doing next is bringing these characters into Maya and working with them in there. Right, everything will be included in project files below and linked, so you can find them. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If this video was helpful, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay tuned for more videos in the future, and let me know if you like it or if there's things you'd like to see in the future as well. I can try to do my best to address those. Right, I hope everyone's having a great day, night, evening, whatever it is where you're at watching this right now, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe for future content and follow me on the social platforms linked below.